Okay, I guess I'm the former vice chairman, I call this to order. Welcome everybody to the planning meeting. Do we do anything else first, or we just start?
Right to election of officers.
Okay, we go right to election of officers. So we have to start with, we have chairman, vice chairman, and
That's it.
Okay. Do we have any nominations for chairman?
I nominate Mike Cypher for chairman.
I'll second it.
Okay, any other nominations? Seeing the railroad tracks coming. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, well, let's get started then.
Vice chair.
Vice chair. Nomination for vice chair.
I'll nominate Bonnie Duffy.
Second.
Any other nominations?
Move nominations closed.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Bonnie will be vice chairman. You'll get to see her perform next month when I'm in Texas. Okay. All right, so let's get started. Good evening. Call to order the regular meeting of the Minnehaha County Planning Commission. And as a courtesy to everyone tonight, please make sure your cell phones are turned off. Okay, we had our election of officers. We're now to our regular meeting. Now that the elections are complete, I'll begin the rest of the meeting with some opening remarks. Any final action taken on a conditional use and agricultural tourism permit applications tonight will take effect 5 working days following this meeting unless a written appeal of the Planning Commission's decision is filed in the planning office by Monday, February 1st at 5 p.m. In the event of an appeal, the decision will be referred to the County Commission for a hearing on Tuesday, February 15th at or after 9 a.m. Meetings of the County Commission are held in this same room. This time, the Planning Commission will consider the consent agenda. The minutes from the November 23rd meeting are included in the consent agenda. Are there any objections from the Planning Commission members of any of the listed items on the consent agenda? Seeing none, next I will read each item on the consent agenda. If any member of the audience objects to the item, please raise your hand and the item will be moved to the regular agenda to allow you to address the commission later in the meeting. If no objections are expressed by the members of the ordinance, then we will request a motion of approval of the consent agenda as listed. If the objections are expressed, ask staff to read the number of items. Okay, we can do that. Okay, we are ready to read the consent agenda. First is the minutes of the last meeting, November 23rd. Item number 3 is an agricultural tourism permit to allow a farm experience operation and to not exceed 1,200 square feet of total accessory building area, requesting 2,100 on the property, and probably just say this is 2.5 miles southwest of Baltic. And Laura Roberts is the petitioner. Anyone in the audience object to this or want to hear?
Mr. Chairman?
Brother, yes?
This has come before us for 3 months in a row, I think. I'd like to hear about it.
Okay. All right, we'll move this to the regular agenda. Item number 4, conditional use permit 16-01 to transfer 8 building eligibilities. This is petitioner Ray Horner, who is the property owner, and this is 2 miles northeast of Humboldt. Okay, anyone object to that or want to hear more?
I'd like to hear more on that.
Okay. Item number 5, conditional use permit 16-02 to allow sales of agricultural equipment and machines with outdoor storage and product display, and an additional sign height to 60 feet at the interstate highway interchange on the legally described property. This is located at the Renner corner, right on the corner, as you can see by the map. We've dealt with that one several times over the years. Anyone in the audience object to this one? I would have one quick question for staff on that. 60 foot, that's the norm, isn't it? 60 and below?
Yep, 60 is the max. This is for an on-premise sign.
Okay.
One additional.
Now,
on-premise.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
If you want something taken off,
I'll say.
I'll take it off for you.
Okay, good. We'll let that one go. Okay, we should be good there. Okay, now next is our agricultural tourism permit number 16-01 to allow a brewery on the hop farm and to live further than 1 mile from the brewery site on the property legally described as, this is east of, right straight south of Valley Springs. Lee Anderson and Janelle Johnson, and the property owners is Nancy Crulet. You want to object to that? You want to hear more about it? Not? Okay, so we have, how many items are we moving? Two? Two. One by, we're going to have the farm experience and then the 8 eligibilities, right? Okay, so items 3 and 4 will be moved to regular agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda first?
So moved.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And now we will go to, we need approval of the regular agenda to include items number 3 and 4.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
People that are here for 5 and 6
Oh, yeah.
may not know that
They are no excuse to go. I was going to get to that.
they're, okay,
But the brewery?
yeah.
Yes, if yours have been approved, you are free to leave.
Thank you.
You can now relax.
Free to go? Yeah.
Unless you would like to stay for the entertainment portion of the program.
Or if you have samples.
Free refreshments or not?
Okay, we
Well,
need a
thank you all, I
motion to
appreciate it.
Approve the regular agenda.
We're free to go then, Wild Bill?
No,
Which
you're
one are you
already
here
got
for?
pulled.
Is that it?
You're on the
You already
eligibility?
got pulled, so you're gonna be here.
Okay.
Thank you again.
Take care.
Okay, so a motion to approve the regular agenda, so moved. Second?
Second?
Okay, we have a motion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, and we go to item number 3. David.
Good evening, Commissioners. David Heinold, Planning Department. The request, this has been deferred twice now, as the original public hearing was in October of last year. The request is to allow a farm experience operation in addition to allowing 2,100 square feet. Petitioner has an existing building on site and requesting a roughly 1,620 square foot building for mainly the farm experience operation. And just to be brief, this request has been heard once a couple of times. The proposed barn that would be located, and just skip forward, this is where the location is, just 2.5 miles southwest of Baltic, situated close to the county highway, just to the, and then the interstate would be just to the west, about another mile. Skipping forward, this is what the existing accessory building sizes are in the area. There's a pretty high range of, there's from like 1,200 square feet to up to about 4,000 square feet on the properties surrounding it. As you can see there, the properties that have a few of the larger sizes are either next to the property or they're within a 1/4 mile of that property, as you can see on this map. And the site plan it's not in here, so I'm just going to go off this map right here. Going back to this, the building would be located roughly about right here, and the petitioner has stated that they would have a parking area that would be just off the driveway as you enter in this area. The driveway to the house is right here. As you can see, this white area right here is where the existing house is on the lot. It's split up into 2 separate parcels. There's a pasture. I'll go through some of the pictures in the next couple of slides. This is back here, and this is the main parcel where the building will be, and what the petitioner stated where the events would take place. There would potentially be up to about 50 people in what they described as birthday type gatherings, and orienting them around agriculture and having themed parties. Petitioner did submit an email to me on January 15th. It went out after the packets had already gone out to the Planning Commission, to you, and they had requested to take the petting zoo option out of the initial request as they put forward with the initial application. And I have that here, so if I can make that available. I can put that up on the overhead. I'm just going to skip forward and go through some of the images that I took of the site. And just going through, as I mentioned, here's the existing house. The driveway is off to the left. The car's there. This is looking in that lot area in the smaller lot, about the 5-acre parcel, and then the rest would encompass the larger area. Putting both parcels over 10 acres. This is looking towards where the building would be roughly located. This is looking where that parking area shown that would be south of the building. The road is just off to the left of the image, as you can see the image right there. And then again, this is some of the things that would be used as far as the farm-related gatherings and the birthday party, the theme around agriculture and having different activities go on. This is the township road that leads over to County Highway, just east of the interstate. And then this is looking back west on that gravel road, which where the driveway would be behind us. And then this is looking out into that pasture. As you saw, that larger area, the tract of land that's behind where the house is situated on that parcel. As you can see on the inset map to the left. And then this is just going through some of the building sizes that are in the area. So roughly the size of what the petitioner is requesting in terms of the sizes and area. Again, this is moving a little bit further west from the property, just down the road. And then this is along the county highway, which is actually about a quarter mile down the road, going north, as some of the properties that were listed, as you go further from that intersection of where the property is. And then this is actually located, there was a property to the east of the petitioner's property that there's a shelter belt that contains this building. And this is one of the larger building sizes on that map, at about 1,200 square feet. This one, or 1,400. And just going through, I'll kind of keep this brief, but going through some of the criteria that take into consideration with the conditional use permit request or agricultural tourism permits. Same criteria apply to the agricultural tourism. The effect upon the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for other uses already permitted and upon property values in the immediate vicinity. There are a few residential acreages in the immediate vicinity, but the land is primarily agricultural, crop, and pasture land. Construction of a 1,620 square foot building and the proposed use as a farm experience likely not detract from the uses that are already permitted in the surrounding area or likely have an impact on property values. 2, the effect upon the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding vacant property for uses predominant in the area. The development of the approximately 12-acre parcel as a farm experience operation, in addition with the proposed building size, would blend well with the existing agricultural operations, the farms around that with the residential acreages. As I've noted, there's a building on almost every one of the properties that's located within the quarter mile, half mile area of the subject property. And then the other consideration is slight residential growth, but that is entirely dependent on the number of available building eligibilities in the area. 3, the utilities, access roads, drainage, and or other necessary facilities are provided. Petitioner has all the needed infrastructure. They have the driveway right there to service the parking area that would serve the building itself. That the off-street parking, I've already mentioned this, that they reserve a space for at least 16 automobile parking spaces. I'll just go back to the map. The petitioner has shown on the site plan and has shown an area that would be adequate to accommodate 16 vehicles or an area that would encompass, and this was calculated based off the recreation type category, or for every, one parking space for every 100 square feet. Petitioner has enough area to comply with this requirement. 5, that the measures are taken to control offensive odor, fumes, dust, noise, vibration, and lighting, inclusive of lighted signs, so that none of these will constitute a nuisance. No offensive nuisances shall be permitted at any time during the use, and petting zoo has been taken out of the request as recommended by the petitioner, and for the farm-related gathering space. And any use of lighting should be directed downward onto the property in order to prevent light pollution off-site. And then 6, health, safety, and general welfare of the public in the comprehensive plan. In the presence of an agricultural tourism use, such as farm-related gatherings, gathering space will likely not have an effect on the health, safety, and general welfare of the public. It is noted that some certain types of agricultural tourism permits, including things like farm-related activities that are centered around the encompassing pasture and farm ground, that allow special events. Special events, as the petitioner is requesting, bring in large amounts of people and traffic and potential noise to the area. And any special events shall meet the requirements, or they would have been reviewed. Petitioner would have to submit in writing what their plan is for the event, and that they have adequate criteria in order to meet the stipulations that are set forth in the agricultural tourism ordinance. And then we would send that out to property owners. And if they have any objections to the proposed events, then it would come back before the planning commission and be reviewed if it was a larger gathering. So staff finds that the proposed use is consistent with the intent of the agricultural tourism ordinance and conforms to the goals and policies of the Envision 2035 comprehensive plan. Staff recommends approval of agritourism permit 1502 to allow farm experience operation with the following conditions: that the total accessory building square footage shall not exceed 2,100 square feet. The farm experience operation shall be secondary to the principal use of the property as residential. The residential use ceases, the farm experience operation shall cease. 3, that the owner or occupant of the dwelling shall be engaged in the farm experience occupation. The farm experience occupation shall have a limit of 2 full-time non-resident employees, not to exceed 4 full-time employees on site. 4, the total signage for the operation shall meet the provisions of Article 12.13 E and F of the 1990 revised zoning ordinance for Minnehaha County. 5, that prior to any special event or festival, the applicant shall follow the provisions that are set forth in Section F of the agricultural tourism ordinance. 6, all outside lighting shall be of a style that directs light downward and prevent light spillage onto adjacent properties. Number 7 is striking out, it's basically just leaving the applicant shall maintain a sales tax license, taking out the petting zoo as an accessory use. 8, a building permit is required before any permanent signs are erected. 9, a minimum of 16 off-street parking spaces meeting the requirements of Article 15 of the zoning ordinance be provided for the farm experience operation facility. 10, retail sales of agricultural tourism products in Article 12.13B 6C shall remain an accessory to the farm experience operation. 11, food concession shall meet the requirements of 12.13B C D, or D6D, and be accessory to the farm experience operation. 12, that the Planning and Zoning Department reserves the right to enter and inspect the farm experience operation at any time after proper notice to the owner to ensure that the property is in full compliance with the conditional use permit conditions of approval in the Minnehaha County zoning ordinance. Which really should be, conditional use should read agricultural tourism permit conditions of approval on number 12. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Thank you, David. Any questions of staff?
I guess I just have one question. As far as that parking goes, I know there are other, let's say, businesses out there. They've been required to put a paid parking area in. Is this pertain to this or no?
So this lot is off the township road. It's not off of the main county highway, so it wouldn't be required to put in hard surfacing, but it's not, could be something that they would have to do. I mean, dust control could be another option if they needed to provide that to help control the amount of traffic and potential nuisances in the area. So that could be, is a short section that they'd be going about. As you can see, that's less than probably 1/8 of a mile to the county highway. So whether or not that
It's only required, you only are required to do paving if you come off a paved highway, and they're coming
Oh.
off a gravel road.
Okay, gotcha.
Any other questions? If not, we shall have the petitioner come forward, please. Hopefully they're here or not.
I haven't worked with them, David has.
Petitioner was sent the notification, mailed the letter that goes out with the staff report and notification of the meeting date and time. And
Okay, thank you. So anyone opposing this, or the petitioner's not here then, okay? In the past, our standard procedure is if you're not present, we don't approve things. So what does the commission wish to do?
Well, are there any opponents here besides me? I'll make a motion to decline this, refuse this request.
Okay, so denial, is your
Denial.
motion. Okay.
It's 3 months, I mean.
Second. Okay, we have a second. Now, any discussion before we go any further? We have a motion and a second to deny this time.
I certainly would have liked to have been able to discuss with the petitioner, and like you said, it's 3 months. I just would like to be able to discuss with her, so we aren't here.
Any other comments?
I'll agree with Becky on what she said, yeah, because they say farm experience, but we really do not know what they have intended.
Just a quick question for staff then, is 6 months before they bring it back?
6 months.
Or they can appeal your decision
Or-
to the county commission meeting.
That's right, and they can explain it there.
Yeah.
If
All
they
right.
show up.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to deny. All those who are in favor of denying this petition, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion is denied. Move on to the next. Item number 4. Kevin has this one.
Good evening. Kevin Hookman, County Planning Department. Item number 1601, item number 4, conditional use permit number 1601 is to transfer 8 building eligibilities from the northwest quarter and northeast quarter to the southeast quarter, all in section 2 of Humboldt Township. The petition is to make a large lot subdivision on the southeast quarter, as you can see on the map here, where it's going to be located. There'd end up being 11 lots from this subdivision, and the petitioner has submitted a site plan proposal. Out of this 11 lots, staff has measured approximately 82 acres that would be taken up through this subdivision plan that has been brought forward. The intersection that's located at that corner of the subdivision is the intersection of 459th Avenue and 257th Street. This intersection is 2 miles from the east and 2 miles from the west of a paved highway, and it is 1.25 miles to the south of the paved highway. So it is about as far as from the paved highway as you can get. Staff visited the site in January. They looked at the surrounding area and found that there are some nearby CAFOs, but they're generally small in nature. That there is lots of rolling hills and kind of low areas as well. And that the transferring of these building eligibilities will at least move some of the buildings further away from a small CAFO on the north side. As part of the conditional use permit criteria, we're looking at 6 criteria items. One is that the enjoyment of the property in the immediate vicinity for the use is already permitted and upon property values in the immediate vicinity. The
Proposed location of building eligibilities and development is located in an active agricultural zone. These dwelling units, these parcels, will have to file a right to farm covenant notice before a building permit can be issued for a single family dwelling. But until those are built, there's no immediate concern about the immediate vicinity of the area. The effect upon the normal and orderly development and improvement to surrounding vacant property for uses predominant in the area. And since this is predominantly agriculture and there are some small CAFOs, there is potential for further expansion of these CAFOs. And there could be some objections to the expansion of CAFOs in the area when you have a large group of residences in one area. This move does not, however, increase the total number of dwelling units that are allowed in the section, so the petitioner could develop all of these individually on each individual 40 acres. The utilities, access roads, drainage, and or other necessary facilities are provided. All utilities and access road will likely have to be provided by the petitioner, as this is an interior location and there are interior lots. And these arrangements will have to take place through the petitioner, and he'll have to work with the roads and the utility companies to do so. The site plan does include a 66-foot wide access road for the properties. That off-street parking and loading requirements are met. These will be met as the properties are developed. And then measures taken to control offensive odors, fumes, dust, noise, vibration, and lighting. There shouldn't be any nuisances that are created by the immediate transfer of these and by the houses, potential dwellings. And the health, safety, and general welfare of the public and the comprehensive plan are considered. There shouldn't be any concerns about the health, safety, and general welfare. And the comprehensive plan and density zoning will be followed. And this type of clustering is encouraged as it leaves open large lots of agricultural land open for further development or further production, agricultural production, while these are clustered into smaller areas. Staff finds the conditional use permit request consistent with density zoning and recommends approval of conditional use permit number 1601 with the following conditions. A right to farm notice covenant shall be placed in the deed prior to the issuance of a building permit for all single-family dwellings. A preliminary subdivision plan is required to be submitted prior to platting, and lots must be platted prior to building permits being issued. I do have some pictures we can go through too, but this time of year it's snowing on stubble, corn stubble. This is looking northeast on the site. There's an existing farmstead on the site, and this is kind of looking diagonally northeast to the farmstead. This is looking straight north, where approximately where the road would be connecting up to the existing township road, right along the hill. This is looking east from that hill, and you can see that there's a farmstead just that way. And then this is looking, or excuse me, and this is west, and there's another farm stead just that way too. The one to the east does have a small CAFO along with it. And then this is looking along the other street, the 59th Street, and this is looking west, looking kind of diagonally at the whole property. This is looking south along the road, and you can see that vehicle that's coming this way isn't quite at the corner, so that farmstead is right there at the kind of top of the hill. And then this is looking north. So you can see it's pretty sparsely populated already. Is there any questions?
Yeah, Kevin, you mentioned that these are large lot sizes. Do you have an idea what size each of these lots are roughly? How many acres?
came up with?
Well, the total was about 82 acres, so if you divide 11 into 80, or 82 into, divided by 11 would be, I don't know,
7 points.
yeah,
7 acres.
7 acres. And that would be including the roadway.
The road in the middle. And, Mr. Chairman, question for staff. Policy on these type of developments away from a paved road, is there anything to that end, Scott?
No, I mean, we would address almost all of that during the preliminary plan, the submitting of the preliminary plan. But they would have to meet the road criteria outlined in the subdivision regulations. And for this, because it's in a paved, or it's a, sorry, gravelled, both roads, you can see it sort of does a loop there. Both roads are gravelled, so they could put in a gravel road, but it'd have to be like a 24-foot wide driving surface with the 2.5-foot ditches and shoulders and.
So the developments themselves, as far as not accessing a paved road, but instead of the development accessing a gravel township road, any precedent or ordinance criteria there?
No, no.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Scott, wouldn't they need to have their own road district there?
And that's addressed in the
Okay.
preliminary plan, the subdivision plan, where we talk about who's gonna maintain the road.
So they would not be dependent on the township to keep their-
They may, I mean, they
They
can
can
work that out with the
Yeah.
township, or if the township doesn't want to accept it, then they have to set up like a road association or a homeowners association, someone that will maintain that road, the snow removal and the gravel and their upkeep.
Yes, go ahead, Bill.
Kevin, did you or did staff or anybody talk to Humboldt Township to get their impressions of this?
At this point, no, I
Okay.
would not. But as part of the preliminary plan, I guess that would be a good time to do that, since that would be when this would be moving forward as new roads.
And I think it's important that we realize this is a conceptual plan.
Yeah.
They're just moving those down there, and, you know, they may, I think it's gonna depend on who they market this to, because 7-acre lots are pretty large. They may wanna shrink that down and do, 2 to 3 acre lots, which would take up a lot less, it would be a lot less road to build. I think once they find out how much that road's gonna cost to build, it might get shrunk down.
Will this come back to us?
The preliminary plan would come back to you.
Any other questions of staff?
I-
Petitioner?
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I
ma'am.
mean, so you mentioned these are small CAFOs. Do you know how small they are? And are the farmers who operate those CAFOs aware of the potential move of these housing eligibilities closer to their existing CAFO?
If I recall, this CAFO would have been notified of this meeting. This one is not within the 500 feet, but if you look at the names, he likely is aware of it because it's the same last name as this property here, which received notice. I do not know the size. It's likely that they are underneath the 250 animal units based on, or they're existing that, I think that they may have been bigger at one time. This one looks like it may have been bigger at one time. Perhaps the petitioner knows a little bit more of what they would be too. But yeah, we don't have any direct record of them getting permits for expansion or anything like that, so.
Any other questions of staff before we have the petitioner come up?
So I just want to get this, all we're looking at here is moving the building eligibilities. There's nothing else as far as sewage or anything like that. It's just moving the building eligibility.
Yes. So there'll be a total of 11 building eligibilities on this quarter section, plus the one that's being used already.
So it'd be
12.
a total of 13 really.
A total of
That's
12, excuse me.
12.
So 11 plus the one.
Okay. Anybody else? Otherwise, we'll ask the petitioner to come forward, please. State your name and address.
Tom Halls, 45859 257th Street. I'm here to represent Ray Horner, the landowner in it. And yeah, I sent out all the letters and stuff for it. This is a future project. We're looking into the, he's looking into the future. His family's had it for numbers of years. And that's where the utilities and stuff are. I went and talked to the Humboldt Township and confronted them about the 2 access roads and stated that we realize that we'll have to build a road, or he would have to build a road and maintain it and get the utilities there, that kind of stuff. But, that's all in the future plan. We're just trying to get the eligibilities all to that 1 quarter. The other 2 quarters is pretty hard to build. Well, you could here and there, but there's no rural water, there's no fiber optic, so we're just trying to get them consolidated in that thing. And, like they said, it's pretty, it was just a preliminary plan. They wanted something drawn up, so that's what we did.
Can you answer the question regarding CAFOs in that area, Tom?
Pardon me?
CAFOs in the area, confined animal livestock operations in this
Feedlots.
area?
Oh, well, Dad's place is one of them that he pointed out, and mine's the other one. There's no
Okay.
large ones there.
Okay. So we are talking to the CAFOs right here, with you representing them. Okay.
So-
Okay. Any other questions for the petitioner?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Tom? Anyone
Thank you, guys.
else like to speak to this matter? If not, we shall close the floor and action or any additional questions you might have of staff.
Mr. Chairman, it seems to me like this is a pretty large number that's moving, but it's right in line with, what people are allowed to do with their eligibilities. And, when you don't have any opposition or whatever, I don't see any reason to stand in the way of this.
Okay, anyone else, any other comments? And my only thing, is the roads and the traffic. For every house comes at least 3 cars, and that's at least 6 trips a day, and times 11 is 66 trips a day, and a township road is probably gonna go down west to Highway 19. But, but yet they're doing the right thing, bringing them all together, which they're allowed to do.
Mr. Chairman, that's probably the same concern that I had, was just communication with the township and from a planning perspective to make sure that they're aware of the additional grading and maintenance responsibilities that be there. These sort of developments are always kind of a double-edged sword. If it's not right next to your farm, you're looking to expand, that's okay. But if it is, then suddenly you've got a number of individuals that you have to appease if you're looking to expand your livestock operation and so forth. But we farm adjacent to a very similar setup that was done probably about 20 years ago, where the housing eligibilities were clustered together, and that kept the farm ground open for full operation on 80s or quarters, which also works out as well. So I'd say for now, I don't have any initial concerns about moving the eligibilities.
Any other discussion, or are we open for a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is that with the conditions?
Yes, with conditions, sorry.
Okay, we have a motion to approve with conditions and a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same side. Okay, motion carries. So we will see this again if they come back with an actual plan. Otherwise, we just move the eligibilities is what we did tonight. Okay, do we have another item yet?
No.
I didn't think so. So, any new business or staff report?
The only new business I guess I would report, I sent you out an email several weeks ago about, well, I guess 2 weeks ago, on the appointment of Paul Kosbooth as our new planning commissioner. He regretfully wasn't able to make it tonight because he's out of town on business, but he indicated that he will be here, so I just pass that along to you.
Any other meetings you've held around the county since our big push last fall with your vision things?
No, Envision 2035 is adopted and enforced.
Mr.
Anyone
Chairman,
else?
we did have 3 very interesting candidates for the vacancy, and it wasn't an easy decision, but I think it was the right one.
You don't remember the other two names?
Sure, Al Miron
Okay, big Al.
and Peter Sangstegard. You know, one thing that Paul said was that in his business, he's been to planning commissions across the state. And while you could think that he's primarily interested in agriculture, he's also interested in rural residential issues and stuff like that, which affect the rural county. He's seen dysfunctional
I've seen those two,
operations.
yeah. I've seen those two. Okay. Anything else? If not, yes, Bonnie.
I don't know, Todd or Scott, the month of December for me is always off base, but we did lose one of our 2035 Envision members, and that's Mike McElranny from,
Passed
I don't know
away.
if you realize that.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't-
Yeah,
Mike passed away?
I did not know that either. He was a strong member of the Tri-Valley School Board, Benton Township, he was involved in a lot of, and he was, just a real great guy to
Wow.
the committee with, and I just found that out too.
When did he pass away?
December 8th, I think it was,
Oh, I didn't know that.
so.
Thank you, Bonnie. Anything else? Otherwise, we'll call for adjournment.
Move to adjourn. Second.
Okay. Favor, say aye.
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 Away we go.
I didn't know that.